they become clients or customers. So with part 4, right? If you're watching this series, make sure you watch the other part of the series or watch the entire webinar to really understand, why an audience may not only be bring you the type of money or results that you want, despite the fact that you have engagement. So part 4 here, you want to run this 90-day audits, right? To see if your audience can actually become clients. So run this 90-day audit to see if your audience can actually become client. So in 90 days, right, you're going to review one thing, how many pieces of content. So let me just go into it. So what it is. So this audit works because it forces a stranger eye view, not your own. I'll say it over and over in the webinars. There is a lot of growth. There will be a lot of changes that will happen. If anytime we're looking at our content, right, or we have moments of a week or in our schedule where we look at our content like strangers, if a stranger is looking at this way, how would they feel? Most of the answers in this webinars can be solved this way. We are taking a stranger look at your content. How would I feel if I was a stranger? Right? Not you yourself, the owner of the content. So what it is, so it's a simple pass through your own content, your own recent content, using the same exact 4 routes from the framework, no external links or relying on someone's feedback. So you are not looking at somebody's not giving you a certain feedback, right? You are not looking at it from any company worker lens or anything. You're looking at it from your own level. And the way to get this wrong is by you looking at it with a bias, like looking at it as though you are just the one who made the content. That will destroy the goal of this entire exercise. So don't look at it as though it was your content. Look at it as though it was a stranger looking at this. So the 90-day audit, score yourself honestly. So the first thing you want to do is that how many people are on your own, on my own list, right? How many people are on my own list and in my direct contact community right now? So how many people can you actually reach directly as part of this major group that you actually have? How many of them can you reach directly? So you want to have an exact number of those things, right? And you should be able to answer it very quickly. It should be something, okay, I just okay, I have 1,002, I have 200, I have 2, I have 3, I have 4. You must have a number for that. And the second thing is that what percentage of my last 90 days of content included a deliberate move up the ladder action. So of all that you posted in the last 90 days, how many of them actually can people take action? Did you invite people to take action on? In a way, did you invite them to move somewhere higher? Okay, they were viewers. What do you tell? They were maybe in the stranger group and then in the familiar group, right? They were in the stranger group or in the familiar group. What is there a post that moved them to the known level? These are the things I really want to measure. As for the first 2 groups, any post can just make it. Any post they just keep seeing your content. Yeah, they are in the family, they are in the stranger group, yeah, they are in the familiar group, seen over and over. But the known one and the warm one are the ones that really like move the needle for you. So not that your content should not become just about moving people from known or warm. No, it must be balanced. It must be balanced. But then you want to see whether how many of in the last 90 days intentionally move people to the next level. And what you observe is that most of the time it's not much, because when you're actually genuinely educating people and you take pleasure in it, right? Sometimes it can feel it's wrong. Sometimes it can feel like asking people to do something we sound wrong, or we sound like you are desperate, or we sound like you need them for something, or like it's been some weird. Some coaches have that issue, right? And we help them address that. So what's one narrow specific problem our audience asks about repeatedly, that could become a known rank offer? So again, we are moving to the things that move the needle, right? So what are the things that people keep on asking? Sometimes people keep on getting interested in, all right? Maybe they comment about it constantly. It seems like it's over and over in your content that you can use to turn it into them into the known rank offer. What could be that particular thing? It could just be, could we have this PDF? Could we have this thing? They keep on asking asking for your document. So you can find a strategic way to maybe not give them every time your slide, but to give them maybe a certain document in exchange for their email or their contact that will actually explain your overall strategy to them or give them an insight to how you think. So they have a part of you with them and you also have a part of them with you. That's like an email list in that case. So in the fourth level, what do you want to do again? So do I honestly know how many of my followers have ever taken a single action towards my offer? Sometimes it's good to add some of those links, maybe a bit.ly link or those short links, those links that you can, or maybe like whatever it is, a way to monitor people that actually click on that particular link, like so that you know that okay, this is what's happening every month with my business. It will help you like track a lot of things. And then five, what's stopping me from adding one weekly ladder move post starting this week? So maybe you realize that oh, you don't do so much of those known ladder known round post or call to action in there, right? So you want to ask yourself what is stopping you. For most people, they just didn't know. They were just doing it randomly, and there was no intentionality towards it. So it's not like you are doing something wrong, but you just didn't know the value of it. You are just doing it randomly. Some people too were also not doing it at all. So whichever case you find yourself in, you only want to fix that. All right. So in a practical way, part five, practically, how one coach turn 40,000 followers into 1,200 person client pipeline. Right. So a genuinely engaged audience, high comment rates, warm DMs, fewer than 200 people to coach could contact directly, right? The coach contact directly. All right. So what does it look like? So the person was having 40,000 followers, right? Coach A, right, in the Netherlands, a coach in the Netherlands, right? Have 40,000 followers, right? And then fewer than 200 on a list. That's not, so if you have 40,000, 4,000 is like 10%. And then, okay, 1% is 1% is 400 followers. Right? 1% of 40,000 followers is 400 followers. And then you actually have a list with 200, right, known list, 200 people, right? That's your known contact list, be it an email list or whatever it is. That's very low. That's 0.5%. That's really, really low. So you want to have at least, to the very least, like when it's, let's say it's really, really bad, it should be like at least 3%. So you should be able to reach to have contact of 3% of your audience. You want to make sure that you are doing everything strategically, not desperately, to increase that percentage. To the point you want to get to the place where like 90% of your audience can be reached. And it's possible. It's possible. It's really possible. Yeah. Maybe I'll have a webinar where I'll talk about that. Like, I'm just writing down somewhere. Right, a strategy to just make it more. You just need a strategy that makes it more natural, or that makes it like obvious to go to. Of course, I want to have this. Of course, I want to reach out to this person. Of course, like it should be so natural, right? So I'm talking about a strategy to have 90% of your contact, of your following in your own database, right? So they change this strategy. So the coach decide to move away from intentionally moving people to the next ladder, move away from it, and they now start moving people to the ladder. They start asking, in a very strategic way, right? There's a way to go about it. Will you join this work, join this newsletter, DM me, do this and do that, right? Something specific and consistent. And what ends up happening is that, well, they have here like 1,200 people on the list, from 200 to 1,200. Very possible. Very possible with that type of number. And then what they see is that they now have like 4 months of people that they can reach, right? Of a 4 months of people being in in that warm audience space, right? Because now they have more people they can directly market the paid offer to. What most people do is that there's nothing that is done. They want to market the paid offer. The pro don't do it that way, right? It's not done that way. They want to market a paid offer, right? They want to market something that's supposed to be done at level 5 to somebody at level 1 audience. So they expect a complete stranger, the large number of complete strangers that do come to them, right? That's sometimes what we do unfortunately as coaches. So expect that large number to now pay. Moving away directly from the concept of them becoming even familiar, which is where they watch you multiple times. Moving away from from the concept of them being how do you call it? Part of your known audience, right? The third level. Moving away from that place to them being like a warm audience, and then having how do you call it? This other place, them now buying, right? So many layers have been jumped, have been skipped. That's what causes frustration. That I'm constantly telling people that I said this and that, but they are talking to many strangers. And again, as much as I'm saying this, I'm also very aware that you can have. I do buy things like that sometimes. Complete stranger to the product, but it's just exactly what I'm looking for, and then I pay for it. But most of the time, when it comes to consistent sales that you can predict, you can build this very serious business on over and over again. You want to have a system, and most serious businesses, whether they know or not, have a system like that. But I say whether they know or not because people do a lot of things right without really knowing that that's the right thing to do. And sometimes you just need to be told that this is the right thing, and you just keep on doing it, and they don't try to remove it. So again, now another thing that's happening is that their follower change has not increased. Their follower count has not increased. So and then they increase their own contact list. So if you come to us and you tell us you want to grow, right? Our urgency will not be in trying to make more content for you. We will run this audit first. And make sure that whatever money was leaking out of your business, we make sure that the leak stops. Because sometimes it's just you don't have a content problem. You just don't have it. And it's a funny thing to say, I make content, I sell content. Why would I not want you to come and buy more content from me? Right? But that would just not be truthful to you. That would just not be honest to you. Right. So let's face your content, your conversion issues first, your pipeline issues, and then now we can talk about more content. All right, so what actually changed? So before, 200 under 200 people when it comes to the own list. Now he has 1,200 people in that own list. That's amazing. That's like a fourfold or a fivefold increase, right? And then weekly ladder move content. So he had none. There was no weekly content that moved to the next level. Not even one. But now we just added one. He just added one. And truly you just need to add one. And sometimes the audience was waiting for it. But sometimes you could be doing something. It seems like where you are mentally, right, about your opinion of what the audience thinks of you, and where the audience is in terms of what they think of you can be so different. So you think that they don't want anything to do, they don't want so much to do with you, they are busy, you are bothering them, or you look like a beggar, you look like you are being desperate, right? But on the other side, they actually want to get closer to you. And that's how it's supposed to be seen. That you are in here to make impact, you are in here to solve a problem or to entertain people in a way. And they want to get closer to you. They really want to do that, but then there must be systems to put those things in place. And the moment you set that system, you can even decide not to even be making content. When you see the economy of companies like Buy Me a Coffee, right, or Patreon, right, it comes from the idea that like you may not even need to have a lot of followers to survive. Some people started online and they started on YouTube. They got to a place where they had like 50,000 subscribers. They were making content that people love, right? But they didn't want to stay on YouTube, or YouTube banned them, or sometimes people with their YouTube. And then they decided that okay, I'm going to move to Patreon. They told people about it. Out of those 5,000, right, they had like, let's even say 2%. 2% is how much? 1,000 people. move from Patreon, from YouTube to Patreon. And out of those 1,000 people, right, five of them are paying them $5 in a month. So $5 times 1,000, that's $5,000. Just to 1,000 people. And for many creators, is 2,000 people, is 3,000 people, is 5,000 people. So they are not dependent on whether the YouTube algorithm is changing or whether the Facebook algorithm is banning people in their niche. They are not dependent on those things. There is just a group of people that they know some way somehow actually approach them. And I think maybe we also have a special webinar in that direction as well to help people do those type of things. So follow accounts. So baseline, nothing has. I mean, they were just doing the follower stuff over here, just trying to grow their audience. But here too, nothing has really changed. The follower count has not really changed. They've not really intentionally done something to change the follower count. And then book calls. So here it was flat, nothing much appreciating, and nothing really predictable. And then here, measurable rise within four months. That's we're right here at the end of it. So you already know why your audience isn't converting. Let's map it to your exact audience. So this webinar gave you the real diagnostic, not a teaser. So a free 15 minutes call, discovery call, is the fastest way to run the ownership ladder audits on your own audience and map exactly where the gaps sit. So yes, that is my that's my call to action here. I look forward to you getting into this call with you. Book a link, the link is in the description. And make sure you subscribe, you follow, and share it with a coach if you do enjoy this. And this part of a series, watch out for the next webinar as well. Thank you, and do have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye bye.